Breakfast of the day, every day.
Nestle. Good food, good life.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Breakfast of the day,
Every day.
every day.
Nestle. Good food, good life.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Today, the 10th of September 2020. Welcome to Good Morning Africa. Welcome to the Newspaper Review segment. My name is Kwame Owusu Danso. So this morning, we're going to be touching on a number of issues. First, an African story, which says Boko Haram jihadists killed 10 civilians in attacks on 3 villages in restive northeast Nigeria. And soldiers rebel against CDS over alleged abuses. Baumia to NDC, you like stealing our ideas, but you can't perform. The Daily Searchlight, massive demonstration hits Mahama at Achim, Daily Guide newspaper. So these are the topics that we've tabled for our conversation this morning. I've been joined in the studios by Honorable Inusah Fuseini, Mr. Kamal-Deen and Mr. Kwesi Pratt Jnr. Good morning to you, sirs, and thank you very much for your time. So we're kickstarting the conversation with the African story, which has been captured by the New Crusading Guide newspaper this morning. The story is on page 5 of that particular newspaper, and it's talking about Boko Haram jihadists killed 10 civilians in attacks on 3 villages in northeast Nigeria. Honorable, sir.
Oh, thank you so very much. Let me say good morning to my co-panelists and to your viewers. Do your good self. I mean, it's today again is Thursday, and we are coming to them with the People's Review. Now, the Boko Haram has been around for some time. I mean, Boko Haram really started destabilizing the peace and security of Nigeria in about 2009. I understand the real meaning of the name is Boko Haram. I mean, Western education is haram. Now, and so they had sought to attack all institutions of state that are propagating Western education. And they have imported religious beliefs, Islamic religious beliefs, into their fight. I have a fundamental disagreement with them, because even in the Quran itself is described as kitab. The kitab is book. Okay? And so if you say a book, teaching somebody book is haram, I mean, probably you have not really understood the doctrinal implication of kitab, book. The second thing is we have, as Muslims, always relied on the teaching of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, who has said, and it's a quote that everybody knows, that seek knowledge, even if it is in China. Seek knowledge. At the time he said that, the Chinese were not Muslims. The Chinese probably do not even have these religions that we have, that monotheism, Christianity and Islam. We said we should seek knowledge. It means that if Boko Haram's philosophical and ideological underpinning is the fact that Western education is being taught in Nigeria and that they fight it because it's haram, then probably they have not understood in real terms the import of Islam, because Islam is just knowledge. and seeking knowledge about God. And you can seek it from diverse areas. But I have been privileged to be part of the EU ACP Joint Parliamentary Assembly, EU, that is European Union, ACP, African, Caribbean and Pacific Joint Parliamentary Assembly. This assembly came into existence by the Cotonou Agreement, which is expiring this month or this year. In our discussions, we have really spoken about the destabilization in the Maghreb region and parts of Nigeria. Now, the root causes of the destabilization cannot be far-fetched. Marginalization, poverty, running a not too inclusive government, resources of states filtering or going to a select few in society. So people take up arms. You can see even today as we speak, Tanzania is boiling. I mean, people are fighting. I mean, and it's largely because those who are fighting feel excluded from the governance process, from the resources of the state. So probably the Al-Qaeda issue must be looked at seriously. I mean, I say Al-Qaeda. Boko Haram issue must be looked at seriously. Probably there is more to the name Boko Haram than it implies. The North, we have always known, has been the poor part of Nigeria. They realized that they were poor, and so their first prime minister, oh, I've forgotten his name. I forgot his name. No, I will remember the name as we go on. Encourage the people of northern Nigeria to go to school. Tafawo Balewa. He encouraged the people to go to school. Thank you so very much. To go to school. Because if you lacked resources, the only way you could make yourself competitive in a growing and developing Nigeria was to go to school. And you can see that education-wise, northern Nigerians are really educated. Now, and we see it also in Israel. When they didn't have a place, they decided that they seek knowledge and seek prosperity. And they used both to come back to establish a homeland. When I went to Bunkurugu during the conflict to meet the students' union, I told them, no, the fight in Bunkurugu will continue to be there if you are fighting over small pieces of fertile land. So because you are agrarian, so you want lands to fight, to farm, and so you will continue fighting. The only way that you can remove yourself from the fight is to educate yourself. Take education seriously so that opportunities then open before you. That is what is happening. So I think that Nigeria itself must look at these issues seriously. And it's not only in Nigeria. I mean, Boko Haram has spread to Niger. Boko Haram has spread to Chad. Boko Haram has spread to Cameroon. Indeed, even in Mali, after the coup d'etat, the jihadists in the Maghreb region have struck again. They killed 2 French officers just recently. And so I think that African leaders must sit up. This fight, and I understand that in Nigeria, that region, the Niger, Chad, Cameroon have come together with a force, an inter-regional force to fight the jihadists. But what is happening? And the last time we met with the National Security Advisor, he made the point very clearly. What is happening is that if we don't use an African regional approach to fighting the jihadists, and we are looking at country-specific strategies of fighting it, the jihadists will continue to spread and be prevalent. So African countries, African leaders must come together, even if it means establishing a force solely for the purpose of fighting the jihadists with assistance from our development partners. That we should do. Because this destabilization retards our development.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kamal-Deen.
Once again, very good morning to you, Kwame. Good morning to my co-panelists, and of course, to the good people of Nanton. I want to say a very good morning to the people of Nanton Constituency, more especially people of Zhao, and of course, Nyoko and those areas. If they're watching us this morning, I say a very good morning to you. Remember, it's going to be 4 more. It should be 4 more for Ronaldo to do more, inshallah. Kwame.
Yes, sir.
Boko Haram, as Honorable Inusah Fuseini rightly put it, literal translation from the Hausa language to English, as it means book is forbidden. Book haram. Haram actually is for an Arabic word that, of course, the Hausa people use to forbid something. Okay, so book is forbidden. Largely, it sounds to mean that education, in this case, Western education or secular education, should be fought because, in their view, it's haram. So fundamentally, as he rightly said, I also disagree with them. I mean, for one to say education is abhorred, is not accepted, that in itself, that person is espousing nothing but ignorance. It's an ignoramus who will say this. Because if the very Quran that you're seeking to protect, like he rightly said, started with telling you, go and seek knowledge. Because the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the first revelation that came to him, said, read, Iqra. Read. That was the instruction by Almighty Allah to the Prophet. So read. And you today say book is haram. So, of course, it doesn't have premise. Okay? I mean, the argument doesn't have premise at all. Now, for you to even go further, to say that you are fighting a jihadist cause, and innocent lives are lost. The northern Nigeria where you are, as it were, committing these heinous crimes, mostly are Muslims. So the very people you are even supposed to protect are those you are killing. You get what I mean? So I think that it is something that should be fought. And it's dangerous. It is spreading fast in West Africa. People are not watching it. That's where I want to take my argument. When you go to Burkina Faso today, they have problem with this Boko Haram now. Not too long ago, they tried to see how they could get into Ghana and all that. These are fundamentalists. If you like, even though fundamentalism in Islam actually is not a bad idea, but my point is that there are people who want to call, let me call them extremists, not fundamentalists as it were. They are extremists, and extremism must be fought. Because the religion itself tells you there's no compulsion in it, that you shouldn't force somebody to even be a Muslim. No. Islam says no compulsion in religion. Do not force. And it goes further. There are myriads of, quotations we can give from the Quran that tells you that, look, people are supposed to live in harmony, irrespective of which religion they belong to. Lakum dinukum waliyad. To you, your religion and my religion. Keep yours and let me keep mine. We don't fight. The Quran says it. So for me, anybody who wants to justify this particular, untoward behavior by these, if you like, I will describe them as hoodlums. Okay? With certain motives that we never know, which is only known to them, then that person is not doing as good. You cannot justify such. Be you a Muslim or a non-Muslim, you can't justify it. But see, I want to narrow it to mean quite a bit political. I mean, for me, I think that it transcends the religious beliefs that they have. It's quite political. Political in the sense that there are some invisible hands, I believe, pushing these people to be doing what they are doing because they have their greed to satisfy. And that is where, like my honorable rightly put it, we need to come out as leaders who, of course, will be fair and just to all. That will nip that political aspect, which is bad, in the bud. Okay, so if politics or leaders are seen to be fair and just And leaders are seen to be helping the vulnerable with policies that will inure to their benefit. With people realizing that, look, the national cake is for all of us and we are all having access to it per the policies that we do have. I believe some of these things will be fought and then will be brought down in a way. But by and large, we all condemn the actions and inactions of Boko Haram. Okay? We all will not support it. And I would encourage West African sub-regional leaders to sit and then fight it out. They've had series of meetings on this when it was quite high, and they should continue. Fortunately for us, let me congratulate the President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, for being elected as the chairperson of the ECOWAS, if you like, of ECOWAS. And I want to congratulate him wherever he is this morning.
Okay.
I want that they should show leadership in making sure that the security of the sub-region is indeed high. So clearly, Boko Haram must be condemned. Boko Haram is a non-starter. Boko Haram is not a religious body. And I'm saying it without any equivocation. They cannot hide under Islam to do what they're doing because Islam never teaches this.
All right.
And it's not proper.
Thank you, Mr. Pratt. Sir.
Well, I think the issue of Boko Haram has gone beyond the condemnation of their actions and justification of their actions. This insurgency has lasted for years, and the fact that it's still thriving must be a source of shame, not just to the Nigerian leadership, but to the ECOWAS leadership, and to a very large extent, the leadership of the world. I mean, what has made it possible for Boko Haram to thrive all these years is the inaction of those on the other side. And that includes our world leaders, it includes ECOWAS leaders, and particularly Nigerian leaders. As we speak, the Boko Haram insurgency has provided a pretext for all manner of intelligence agencies to infiltrate the Nigerian space. The Israelis are there, the British are there, the Americans are there. Almost everybody is in the Nigerian space. And yet, there is no evidence that the activities of Boko Haram are being kept. This is what has led to the speculation that the presence of Boko Haram and the atrocities it's committing serves the interest of some powerful people in the world. Yeah. Because for as long as Boko Haram is there, for as long as it's committing these atrocities, it justifies the presence of foreign military advisors, intelligence advisors, and operatives on Nigerian soil. And it's a shame that the death, the suffering, the maiming of Nigerian people has just become a pretext for geopolitics. I am completely ashamed of what is happening in Nigeria. Now, the fact that the insurgency has survived for so long and appears to be growing is also an indication that there may be some underlying factors that we have not looked at. For example, the frustration factor. And if you don't find that motivating factor, we would not be able to address the dangers of the Boko Haram insurgency. Now, again, there are many people who think that this is a Nigerian problem. It is not true. I mean, all the intelligence reports we've been privy to over the last 4 years warn of the likelihood of the spread of Boko Haram into other West African countries. Spread in terms of their activity, spread in terms of their development of sleeping cells which may become active cells later and so on. Indeed, last year and 2 years ago, the Ghanaian intelligence community had information indicating that there could be terrorist attacks in Ghana targeting Nigerian financial institutions, diplomatic missions, and churches. So when you get to this level, it is no longer a Nigerian problem. It becomes a big problem. In any case, as we speak, Boko Haram is active in Niger, it is active in the Cameroon, and it is very, very active in Burkina Faso. And there are even suggestions that they could be a part of the general insurgency, Islamic insurgency in Mali and Guinea. You understand? So what do? We know that, or it is claimed, that their main bases are in the Zambezi forest. That is the claim. You understand? I'm not a military person. I'm not an intelligence person. But what does it take to locate these bases? Very little. Common sense. If we know that they're in the Zambezi forest and we don't know the exact locations, you compel them to open fire. You understand? You send low-flying aircrafts into the area, you tease them out, they would definitely respond with fire. And that would indicate their location. I mean, this is not rocket science. So why do we make it look like the Zambezi forest is an impenetrable, place, and there's nothing we can do to locate Boko Haram bases and so on? Why? The whole of West Africa, we can't do that. Our leaders in West Africa like doing the easy things, issuing threats to Yahya Jammeh and so on. You understand? And then now they are asking the Malian authorities to restore a former president who is totally discredited and hated by his people. That is what our leaders in West Africa want to do. They do not want to tackle the nitty-gritty of the problems that confront us, especially the security situation. And I am scandalized that up to this time, the Boko Haram insurgency has not been nipped in the bud. But you see, every time we talk about Nigeria, our attention goes to Boko Haram. Why? As we sit in the studio this morning, there's clearly a low insurgency civil war in Nigeria. You understand? The Niger Delta crisis has virtually matured into a low-intensity civil war in Nigeria. What are we doing about Niger Delta, the crisis in the Niger Delta? And some of the Nigerian elite, if not all of them, sometimes are so simplistic that it borders on stupidity. You understand? What did they do? They caught Ken Saro-Wiwa and hanged him. How did that solve any problem? Ken Saro-Wiwa, who had never picked up a gun, who was engaged in human rights, advocacy and so on, was caught as a symbol of the legitimate struggles of the people and hanged. It solved no problem whatsoever. As we speak now, the leader of the Shia Muslim group in Nigeria is in detention with his wife. And I'm talking about Sheikh Zazaki. He's in detention with his wife. There are serious reports that his health is failing. And yet the Nigerian authorities are hell-bent on keeping him in detention. This is a guy who has never picked up a weapon, has never been a threat to the Nigerian establishment, and is in detention. The Nigerian military raided his house and killed many of his children, and they killed his followers and so on. Up till now, the Islamic movement of Nigeria has adopted peaceful means of seeking redress, very peaceful means of seeking redress. Friday protests on the streets, carrying of placards and so on. The Nigerian authorities are not listening. You understand? Even a decision by the courts in Nigeria ordering the release of Sheikh Zazaki was not honored by the Nigerian state. Are we waiting for the Sheikh Zazaki incident situation in Nigeria to also escalate and become a problem for us? Does it make sense to keep this Islamic cleric, well respected internationally, who is not a terrorist, in prison, while Boko Haram continues to thrive and to cause mayhem in Nigeria? It simply doesn't make sense. I am worried. I'm worried, about the future of Nigeria. And I don't want to contemplate a situation where Sheikh Zazaki dies in prison. Can you imagine the consequences for Nigeria? If this man and his wife something should happen to them in prison. Can you imagine the consequences? So common sense dictates that as quickly as possible, that problem needs to be resolved in order not to exacerbate the security situations in Nigeria. But unfortunately, the Nigerian leadership does not listen. The Nigerian leadership refuses to listen to reason, and it continues to act with impunity. And it is that impunity which is worsening the insecurity problems of Nigeria. And I have always been hoping that ECOWAS leaders will have the guts to speak to themselves about this development and so on. You know, nothing like that is happening in Nigeria. Of course, Nigeria is a superpower. Nigeria has a population, if I'm right, of more than 200 million people. You know, I think Ghana has the second largest population in the sub-region, which is around 30 million and so on. So just by population and land size alone, Nigeria emerges as a superpower in the West African region. Of course, Nigeria also has enormous resources, especially oil and gas. In fact, Nigeria exploits about 2 million barrels of oil a day. 2 million barrels of oil a day. So that makes it a superpower. Not many governments in the West African sub-region would want to be acting on the bad side of Nigeria because of its sheer power and so on. But you see, that's only one aspect of the equation. The other aspect of the equation is that if Nigeria deteriorates into chaos, 100 million people looking for shelter across Africa. And that's a nightmare situation. So we need to balance all of these factors, you know, and to take steps which would ensure that calm is restored to Nigeria. Of course, we are also all aware of the implications of Nigeria closing its borders. I mean, many Ghanaian traders, Togolese traders, Beninois traders, and so on, have suffered enormous damage to their businesses. Many of them will never be able to rise again as a result of Nigeria closing its borders and so on. And I think we need to look at Nigeria more seriously. We need to engage with the Nigerian authorities, opposition, and so-called civil society organizations in Nigeria in order to find a solution to the problems which are brewing in Nigeria, which could have very disastrous consequences for the whole of West Africa and indeed the world.
Thank you, Mr. Pratt. Well, if you just joined us, you're watching the Newspaper Review segment here on Pan-African Television. The WhatsApp number is active now. It's 0260846539. And let me remind you once more that we're streaming live on our Facebook page, which is Pan-African Television. We're also streaming on YouTube at Pan-African Television. You can also go to my personal page and watch it on there. I've shared it on my wall. You can watch it. It's on several other platforms on social media. So just look for Pan-African Television and share the stream so others can get the opportunity to watch the show as well. You can leave your comments underneath the video, the live stream. I'll read it here for you. Come on, let's come back home and deal with an issue that we have to deal with, which has to do with the fact that soldiers are rebelling against the Chief of Defense Staff. I want to start with you respectfully.
Very interesting. I don't know where to start from. You see, some of these stories, my good friend Prince Pra should let us give something credence a bit further to some of these stories until it comes out. Now, for us to give an impression or create an impression of this on the front page, it demands a lot of flesh into the matter. But looking at this heading, soldiers rebel, CDS, and you go into the story, the picture appears a bit gloomy. Exactly. It appears as we sit today, all our military camps are sitting on tenterhooks hugely, when in fact it's not the case, even by your own story. So I mean, I am much more for excellent journalism. I'm not a journalist. I've tried it being one before. I've been in the media circle sometime myself, written a little. But I think that when we give sensational headlines, it's worrying, especially when it borders on security of the state. That's my worry. Because if you look at the story, I think third paragraph or so, or the second paragraph of the story, tells you that this story is coming as a result of some grumbling that they've picked up, and now which has manifested into some writings on the walls near Burma camp. Okay, they can't tell who wrote it. All they say is that they believe some soldiers might have written speculative piece. Was it Obi Akwata? I don't know. I stand corrected. Was he the one in charge? He was the one? He was the CDS then? No. But the story at the tail end of the story says that some tensions around the mining area leading to the killing of Maxwell Mahama and all. How does Maxwell Mahama and administration of CDS now relate? Are you getting me? So sometimes, with a great respect, it's important that you give us heads up and try to let the government of the day set up and all, as it were. But let us be careful not to create an atmosphere of tension out there, when in fact what we have doesn't present same. That's my fear. Then it ends up by saying that even the deployment of military outside there recently is a problem, and the convention has been negated to the background, and now we have even domain facet issue and all that. That is what is the problem. So I really, there's no clarity in the story for me. You see, so let us not create a problem where there's no problem. Or if he has more, then let's have more. You understand? Because indeed, if we have a very firm and strong military, clearly it's a positive to the nation.
Of course.
And if we have a very weak military front, where we can use them for do anything, or where, you know, some of these impugning, if you like, headlines could be given, then of course it's also a disturbing story to all of us. But my point here is that let's get beyond what we have written and give evidence of the rebellion that we're talking about. Okay. Ghana has a 28-year-old constitution as we speak today. We are moving. We are on a trajectory of a civilian rule, and we understand it. Governments have come and gone. We're still on. How are we promoting our democratic dispensation? Writing should go in that tangent. It's not to say that if there's a problem, do not report it. But if you prevent sensational headlines and we want to sit down to discuss them, with a great deal of respect, I wouldn't even know where to start from and how to end it. Point I want to make is that reading the story and relating it to the headline, it doesn't really add up so much. Maybe my good friend Prince Pratt must come again.
Okay. I wanted to ask you a few questions, but
no, you can ask. Hold on. No, you can ask. Why not? It's important. It's not my time. No, but of course.
Let's just listen to Honorable Inusah Fuseini, respectfully.
That's why it's analysis show.
Yeah.
So
when Kamal said,
don't worry.
When Kamal said, we are moving forward,
you smiled.
I smiled.
There was a big smirk on your face.
Yeah, because Jerry has said that in 1992. We are moving forward, not backwards. And that was an answer to the MPP. So I smiled.
Well, so you question the formal format for that?
Yeah, I'm moving forward. Anyway, you see,
a different angle is
you say, the last disciplined institution of state is the army. And so you will find that the army is very slow. Soldiers are very slow to condemn their leaders. Very slow. In fact, that dovetails into the maxim, do before obey. You obey before you complain. And so, because of the disciplined, restrictive, closed nature of the place, when you find a writing on the wall, even if it is one writing, on a conspicuous place at Burma camp about your CDS, Chief of Defense Staff, it must be news.
With a red paint.
With a red paint, it must be
Really?
news. It must be news. Wow. No, soldiers are not like politicians, where they can placards, or we can organize demonstrations, or we can engineer the. Yes, no, it's not like that. Soldiers, they are people, because their work entails that they must be absolute discipline. No soldier can win a war, no matter how good and tactical he is, with an indisciplined following, because they must obey instructions. And that's why this story, this probably one of the reasons why this story has made a front line, because it is very uncharacteristic of the military institution for persons to be writing on walls or at Burma camp and outside Burma camp, including the overhead. It's very uncharacteristic, very, very. But why has it come to that? We have always said that all of us should guard against the creation of deep state security establishment. Because the avowed intention of the military is the territorial integrity of Ghana. And that is why in the United States of America, the military
have a soldiers for purely civil duties. This they have recruited into the police service and so on. To the extent that at a certain stage, we were talking about an NPP police as against an NDC police and so on. Of course, when the NDC came back to power, I'm sure that they also did some recruitment and so on. So increasingly, the neutrality of persons in the Ghana security services are being compromised. And you have security institutions which are becoming highly politicized and divided on partisan lines. That's a very dangerous situation. And I'm not going to discount this story offhand. I'm not. I'm not going to just discredit this story. I don't see any newspaper editor who will sit at home and completely fabricate a story like this, because it has very dangerous consequences. We all get it wrong many times. We really get it wrong. I mean, the inside gets it wrong many times. The inside that I manage gets it wrong many times. And this week or last week or so, we got something very, very wrong, about the Ashanti regional minister. We got it very, very wrong. And I cannot imagine why and how that happened. But it has happened, so we get it wrong sometimes. You understand? We get it all wrong sometimes. But to sit at home and fabricate a story like this, I think is not something that any editor, even those who are untrained and so on, will do. There must be some modicum of merit in this story. And whatever it is, it should send us worrying. My brother, and he's my brother and friend, was actually wondering how the murder of Major Muhammad can become an issue today when the CDS was not at post. It becomes an issue today because of the cumulative value. You understand? Today, soldiers are being arrested by civilians, they are being beaten, they are being molested, and so on. It will throw back to what happened to Major Muhammad. So Major Muhammad may have happened some time ago, but it becomes an important reference point today. For soldiers who are being beaten, who are being wounded, and so on, it becomes an important thing for them today. You understand? I think that the way forward, the way to avoid catastrophe and so on, is simply to make sure the soldiers are allowed to do only official, legitimate military duties. Take soldiers out of our politics, take soldiers out of crowd control, take soldiers out of traffic control duties, and certainly do not use soldiers as land guards. That's the lowest. Don't use soldiers as land guards. Keep the sanctity of our military institutions and so on. And you see, a lot of people forget. I think it was Che Guevara who said this. It's been said by many, many guerrilla fighters and revolutionaries and so on. It's even been said by our former head of state, Jerry John Rawlings. What do you think the soldier is? The soldier is nothing but a civilian in uniform and armed. Why? If the soldier goes to the market and prices rise, the soldier reacts the same way as civilians react. And so on. My brother, the Honorable Inusah Fuseini, was talking about discipline in the armed forces and so on. I wouldn't use discipline. I wouldn't use that word. You understand? Because many times, we try to confuse regimentation with discipline. Regimentation is not discipline. The security services are heavily regimented. The Ghana Armed Forces is heavily regimented. It is not discipline. I'm not saying that the armed forces is not discipline. I'm saying that regimentation and discipline are totally different. And because the armed forces are so regimented, sometimes it takes a long time for dissent to find open expression. So when defiance begins to find open expression, be careful. It indicates that something has bottled up over a long period of time. One of the difficulties, I speak to many people, one of the difficulties is trying to understand why 7 senior military officers, when they reach retirement age, are kept at post. Is it because we don't have enough people to take over from them? Is it because we expect political favors from them? What is it? And this question is being asked by operatives in the security services. Police people are asking, why is it that every government or most governments, when they are in power and the IGP reaches retiring age, he's given a contract? Is it because his deputies cannot perform the job? What impression are we giving? And what are the consequences of giving that impression? We should be careful how we treat the security services. There are human beings in the security services. There are no robots in the security services. These human beings in the security service respond to economic stimuli. They respond to political stimuli. They respond to social conditions and so on. And I'm frightened about the conditions we are creating in this country and the security services now. It could have consequences that all of us will regret. It could have consequences which would have retrogressive effect for all of us. Let us watch it. Let us do what is proper. And let us ensure that, look, we do not add other problems to the sufferings that ordinary Ghanaians are suffering today. There are people who are hungry. There are people who are unemployed. There are people who are unable to access health care. The roads are so bad. We are recording a lot more accidents and so on. The situation is bad enough. Don't add more. I have finished.
Thank you. Mr. Pratt, you want to make a quick point?
Yes, a quick one.
All right.
The caution raised, of course, and it's taking some time. It's legit. Very important that we interrogate some of these things, verifying the facts as presented by the paper, okay, and of course raise certain cautions that we have not. I mean, I want to share the sentiment of Honorable Inusah and of course Mr. Kwesi Pratt.
Your brother.
Clearly, my brother Kwesi Pratt. I mean, clearly, I think it's proper that we kind of caution each other going forward. And like I rightly said earlier on, we have over 28-year-old constitution, which we all don't want to look at going backwards, as it were. So their points is well and clear. However, I still maintain that not until speculative journalism, okay, is put down or is reduced, then our forward march indeed is going to be a bit difficult. But the caution, well noted.
Thank you very much, Kamal-Deen. Let me go for this quick breather. When I return, we're going to be touching on what His Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has been saying. He's been talking to the NDC, and he says the NDC likes stealing ideas. We will find out whether or not indeed that is a statement of fact. Quick commercial break. Stay with us.
Breakfast of the day, every day.
Nestle. Good food, good life.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Breakfast of the day, every day. Every day.
Nestle. Good food, good life.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Back. 0260846539 is the WhatsApp number. Let me remind you again that we're streaming live on Facebook, facebook.com/Pan-African Television. Be kind enough to share the feed so others can get to watch it as well, and also leave their comments underneath the Facebook feed. Before the break, I told you about the next topic that we're going to be touching on, which says, Baumia to NDC. You like stealing our ideas, but you can't perform. Honorable Inusah, Fuseini, why do you like stealing ideas?
Oh, we're not thieves. We don't steal. We don't steal ideas. Ideas float. And anybody can tap those ideas. They float. Ideas float. It will be stress them and expound on them. And he was awarded a doctorate degree. Those ideas were not original. They were not original. You see, so when people talk like that, well, the MPP established the Social Security and National Insurance Trust. Did MPP establish the student loan scheme? Did they? So whose idea was it to establish the student loan scheme? And then say that to be able to access the student loan, you need guarantees. Whose idea was it? And who doesn't know that guarantees are now in short supply? Who doesn't know that? Because the civil service is stuck, it's permanent, it's not growing. And you need civil servants to be able to guarantee to. Who doesn't know that? And who doesn't know that some students have gone without accessing the Senate loan because they can't get guarantees? Who doesn't know that? No, I don't blame him. He didn't attend university in Ghana. He didn't attend university, so he doesn't know that. All of us know that. And when these guarantors who are older, when they are going on retirement, sometimes they can't even find the students to release them to be able to take their end of service benefits. Who doesn't know that? It's probably Bobby doesn't know that. That informed the NDC's position. I'm not surprised it's also in the MPP. I'm not surprised at all. Because everybody knows the challenges students go through. Everybody knows. In terms of guarantors. But if somebody was able to think that to be able to facilitate students access to loans to go to school, you needed guarantors and all those, and now has come back to say that no, because of the challenges, because in the implementation of the policy there are challenges. We need to remove those challenges. You who is now benefiting from that idea is not saying that, is not appropriating the idea to yourself. I mean, Bobby must come again. He must come again. I feel it's an assault on the senses of Ghanaians. What he has said, it's an assault. He just. Well, now you see, NDC again. What did you expect our manifesto making process to throw up? Because we had said, and Danso, Dr. Professor Kwame Danso stated it very clearly. The Constitution, the preamble of the Constitution, apart from the first place, we believe in God. I mean, the God part. The second part is the people. We, the people. So the people are very important. People matter. even in the constitutional establishment. Sovereignty springs from them. And the powers of government must be exercised for their benefit and for their welfare. That's what the Constitution is telling us. How do you exercise the powers of government for the benefit of the people if you don't consult them? So we said, no, let's go back to the beginning. As a social democratic party, let's go back to the beginning. The Constitution is speaking to us. So we went back to the beginning. We did our town hall meetings, which we call listening tours.
Speak out.
Speak out. We did the branch meetings, and I'm grown enough to tell you that when the revolution started, I was the secretary of my area, of the PDCs. And my brother, you will never know that you are important in society until an idea that you canvass at the lower level finds expression at the higher level. It might come in different form, but you will recognize it. So we did that. Didn't we interact with NAT?
You did.
Didn't we interact with the students' associations?
You did.
And so if the students were facing problems, wouldn't they tell us?
Absolutely.
We were looking at ways of addressing those problems. How does it relate to copying? When the students were water hosed at the where
in front of the
Kentucky, no, is it Kentucky? That is the
you mean the law
Sankara,
students?
the law students.
Yeah.
Sankara.
Yeah.
Sankara overhead.
Police headquarters.
Police headquarters. They made their way. They made their way to the flag bearers' place. In fact, they heard that the flag bearer was meeting the Ghana Bar Association. They came to the Ghana Bar Association. The flag bearer, John Dramani Muhammad, told them, no, this is at this place we are meeting the Ghana Bar Association. So I'll be returning to my office. If you are really desirous of meeting me, come there. They came there. They said, look, we are coming to present a petition to you because we must have access to education. Then we held discussions with them and agreed that something ought to be done to expand access to legal education. Doesn't it find expression in our manifesto? It's not a culmination of the meetings that we had. That is it. We didn't sit in our bedroom. Savannah, they should probably we stole the idea from Kufo, not MPP. It's a conceptual problem. Ghana, the whole 3 northern regions, including part of Brown Hafu and part of Volta. Do you know that KJB was in the Northern Territories? Do you know that? So, it's a conceptual thing. MPP thought we would establish a Northern Development Authority. We said no. The concept of Savannah is larger than Northern. It's larger than Northern. In fact, Northern is quite. I mean, if you are describing it by reference to place, to geography, I mean, or the geographical political partitioning of Ghana. No. We want to develop an area which had similar conditions. And they were actually, because of those similar conditions, they were actually the Northern Territories. How does the idea become your idea? How does it become your idea? That you can, up to now, you continue going around and mention about guinea fowls flying. A report of, you see, well, 7th December is just around the corner. If a government comes into office on the plea to the people to try him, it's just like a footballer who is sitting on the bench complaining that his coach doesn't want to try him. And when the coach tries him, he performs disastrously. You think that he's entitled to continue to be on the pitch? He's entitled to continue to be on the pitch. Because the performance of Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo and the MPP has been a disaster. In fact, it's a tragic disaster and abysmal. They are looking for clutches to hang on. A drowning man will hold on to your clutch. So anything that they find, they throw, hoping that one of them will stick. But Ghanaians are wide awake and they say, look, you came to us to try you. We have tried you. We think that the player who you replaced is a better player. We want to bring him back. It's a crime. When Ghanaians say that, it's a crime. Is it a crime? If you are a football coach, won't you do that? You have your number 9 who plays well, and then somebody who thinks that he can play better than your number 9, he impresses upon you to remove him.
I'm not a Togolese, I'm a Ghanaian.
Number 9?
I say I'm a Ghanaian, but I'm not saying that John Mahama should come back. No. So when you say Ghanaians, I mean, I'm also a Ghanaian, but I'm not saying it.
Well, I don't think that you represent the manifestation of all Ghanaians. I don't think that. But I'm a Ghanaian.
Well answered.
I'm a Ghanaian. I don't
some
think
Ghanaians.
I don't think that. No. First of all, I'm a Ghanaian. I don't think that Nana Akufo-Addo should come back. I don't think that Nana Akufo-Addo should come back.
That's the point.
So then don't personalize it.
Well.
Don't personalize it. Whatever be the case, we are not in an autocratic state, are we? So we are in a democratic state, a multi-party democratic state. So when we say Ghanaians, we obviously are talking about Ghanaians who feel that John Mahama should come back. We are obviously are talking about them because they will vote. If we were in an autocratic state, we wouldn't vote. Yeah. We wouldn't vote. So that's the context in which we are saying that Ghanaians are saying that he should come back. And I think that a footballer who goes into the field and fails to perform to the expectation of the coach, and in this case, Ghanaians are the coaches. He has no obligation. He has no right to continue to be on the field, because you went there, you pleaded with the coach to try you, and the coach has tried you, and you're not performing. Why do you think that you should be given more time on the field? In fact, you should be ejected. If the coach, says that you should come out and you refuse, the coach should go into the field and pull your jersey out. They should remove him by force. They should remove him because he has failed. He's failed, and that is the position in which we are. You see, I have no doubt about yesterday I met another person when I was having my morning routine exercise, who told me that, you know what you people have done? You've lifted discussion on manifesto to from pure rhetoric to intellectual engagement. Have you listened to the radio? People are talking about feasibility, possibility, sustainability, reasonableness. Have you listened to the debate? That is what your manifesto has done. And I'm exceedingly happy that now NDC are giving the MPP a run for their money.
But he says you can't perform.
We can't perform. The performance factor is a matter for Ghanaians to determine. You see, you say you can't perform. You are given the reins of power on the 7th day of January 2017. On that day that you held to the sword and swore, the total public debt of Ghana was 122 billion Ghana cedis. John Dramani Mahama, who had been president for the preceding 4 years, had contributed only 54 billion to the total debt of Ghana at 122 billion. That 54 billion included Terminal 3, included the expansion of the Gapoha, the Tema port, included the gas plants. That's 54. Now you, from 7th January 2017 to date, you've contracted about 140 billion Ghana cedis debt, and you are yet to show us what you have used the money for. Yesterday, I listened to my brother Kwesi Pratt when he sought to convince a deputy minister of state that Ghana is almost in a distress situation, because we are using 89.1% of our revenue, and revenue here includes income and grants to service loans, largely brought into being by the MPP. And so for performance, well, maybe by Nana Akufo-Addo's cutting sword. In fact, can you remember, yesterday he cut sword for the Kwame Danso road to start in 7 months. You cut sword for a project to start in 7 months' time. And so we are waiting. Maybe the 140 billion cedis are still rising, because they have said that they are going to contract about 23 billion cedis to end the year. So we might get to 163 billion Ghana cedis.
Okay.
We are still waiting to see what they have to show for.
All right.
But Ghanaians know what John Dramani Mahama is capable of.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Kamal-Deen.
Yes. I should come on board.
Oh, you spoke first. Okay.
No, I didn't speak. No.
Okay, so now, yeah. So, yeah. So,
on this
yeah.
matter,
That's why I mentioned you.
This is now the subject matter of the day.
Yeah, that's why you brought your...
Important. You see, I have seen series of videos which points to the fact that some things cannot be done for the poor in this country, especially Kwame, relating to education. That His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, as president, in the preceding 4 years that he mentioned, said that it is only a desperate politician in his West, desperate politician, who will, in a whimsical manner, promise free SHS. Desperate and whimsical manner, those are his words. Describing Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who they say he has not performed today. Yes, I have it. It's a video, it's here. It's a video.
It's edited. Master, I know what I'm talking
about. Oh, no. No. Is it deliberate by who? Oh, this is a public video. You are addressing people. You say, no, you see, let's not do this. You see, when I'm done, because you come. Okay, please. I have seen a video.
Come on, proceed.
Aside that one. Okay. If that one is doctored, let me give you the second one. I am moving on, so I don't know why.
Because we have no time.
So I want to get to
I am not translating what you're saying. But there are 3 videos which were sent, which I saw on MPP platforms yesterday. All those 3 videos have been heavily documented.
Oh, okay, come on. So let's move on. Take us to the next video. Let's see.
At least it's refreshing. It's refreshing to hear that there's a video. That's what is important. It's refreshing to hear that the videos they exist. Except the fact that he claims that they are adopted. You see, the point I want to make. Aside even the video, there has been a lot of commentaries run by elements of the NDC that the young ones of this country deserve no such intervention. In this case, I'm referring to the free SHS, which will prepare the young ones for tomorrow, education. Today, they go to launch a manifesto, and under the paid for education, the very first thing that they talk about is free SHS, and they will even expand it to private schools. These are people who never believed in it in the first place. When Dr. Bawumia speaks about stealing ideas, excuse, I'm moving on to the matter.
You are mistaken. Free HSS, or progressive free HSS, it's a provision of the Constitution. So if you say we don't believe it, then probably you are not telling the truth.
You see, I know why you folk cannot sit down when I'm speaking.
No.
The fact is fact. Let me move on. The point is that today, the very people who did not believe in it, free SHS, and calling it free is free, and that the Nado is going around saying he wants to give free SHS, all lie be lie. That's again Kweti. Today, that one has found space in their manifesto, which manifesto he says is going to provoke decision. I mean, what if like decent arguments in the media space? Excellent. I'm happy about it. But you know why? I want to go further to tell you today, that the NDC will continue to steal ideas like Dr. Baumia said, and will not be able to ensure that the implementation of same is done well. Page 82 of the NDC's manifesto, the one they launched just recently, some few days ago. Page 82, where interests me, that place interests me most. Deprived communities like the Zongos and some inner cities. And look at the preamble, the way they even set it. The preamble talks about some aliens compliance order and the reason why they have been negated to the background. Interesting. Then they go further to say they shall set up what fund, they shall do what, they shall do what, they shall do 21 promises or 22 promises under that particular one. Have you forgotten that the Zongos have held on to you? It's today that you know that the Zongos exist. It's today. You had 2012 manifesto, 2016 manifesto, 20 whatever. Until the MPP came out to say that we need to set up a Zongo Development Fund and help. Now you know the Zongo is important. So you want to come out with all this. If we say you are stealing ideas, where are you picking the ideas? And you see, what even bothers me most, Kwame, in their haste to hoodwink Zongos to voting for them, the flag bearer of the NDC, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, former president, stood on the platform that day, and I listened to him loud and clear. The videos are there, you can play it, and said, that was after his running mate had spoken about this human development decision that they have, and then spoke about the Zongo. He came and added that there shall be what they call Suyeye Fund. I went through the manifesto. There's nothing called Suyeye Fund in this manifesto. I am telling you, there's nothing. Hoodwinking Ghanaians. You come and stand, want to present a manifesto, you say things that are not even your manifesto. When we say you steal ideas and you don't even implement them well, we have come with a law for the Zongos, establishing Zongo Development Authority. We have come with a ministry, Zongo for Inner City. Projects have been, there's a law establishing. I would have thought that you come out and say that, look, once there's a law and there's an authority, I will make it better, just like the free SHS. You are now saying you want to come and make it better, even though you didn't believe in it. So if you want to plagiarize well, and give credit, then we can move on. That is why we say you will steal the ideas, but you can't do it. But see, my own elder brother sits here, Honorable Unja Fuseini, a very credible man he is. When we went to launch our manifesto, he came out with the news. He said we had gone to steal their manifesto. Today he's telling his ideas float. Even before he launched his, we didn't even see his own. He claimed we had stolen the abstract manifesto. One we never saw, abstract. Something in the air, you have stolen. You have not even seen you are stealing it. He told the whole world that we MPP, we have gone to steal NDC manifesto. Today he came to sit here, after they have launched their manifesto and we are telling them of ideas they have stolen, he said ideas float. And give example of SADA and NDA. Then give example of guarantors. I am happy he squarely brought the guarantors matter. You see, the point I want to make is that the MPP has been pace setters and will continue to be true pace setters of true democracy in this country. And the MPP, each time they come into government, when you talk about performance, what matters to us most, even though we are not referred to as social democrats, as they are referring themselves to their social democrats, we come up with proper interventions, largely, and I have been challenging NDC to show me one proper intervention. When you talk of capitation grant, is MPP. Free SHS is MPP. When you talk of mass transport for the young, for the public, is MPP. When you talk about school feeding program, it's MPP. When you talk about NHIS, it's MPP. Tell me one single, the Social Democrats, one single one that you have done for the poor in this country. And yet you say you perform? We have known you. We have seen you. How do you perform? What do you perform? How can you perform when you give an economy, a healthy economy, and you come and then take the economy to IMF to take $920 million? Bring that economy down with figures that, of course, are nothing to write home about, indicators. Then somebody comes to take it over, within the first 2 years, brings it back and make it resilient and take you out of the IMF. You say that person is not performing. I don't know who is performing here. I don't know. I'm going to see who is performing. You see, it's clear, and Ghanaians are watching it. I want to appeal to Ghanaians. We have seen the people who, of course, care about you. When you talk about people, by proper interventions. We have seen people who manage the economy well, and we can compare and contrast, do that comparative analysis, and know that inshallah the 88 days left for us to go for this election, without a doubt, you have taken all the ideas from our manifesto, go and put it there, but you cannot implement it well. But I think that Ghanaians have seen it and they've realized it. Finally, to just land, let me tell you something. They say when they can, they abolish double track system. Interesting. Kwame, the blue track carries students, the green track carries students, the gold track carries students. When you abolish those tracks and keep one track, which students are you going to keep and which students are going to sit home? When you ask them questions. You know what necessitated that? It was shortage of facilities, and the numbers of people who were supposed to go to secondary school were high, close to 2 million people. Then we said to ourselves, let me even use this to congratulate those who just finished the free essay. You know, they just ended. Well, congratulations to them. Look, the numbers, and how can you handle that without that? Now you say you come and complete your secondary school that you couldn't complete. That we have even done better. Me, I want to say that, look, Ghanaians have watched and they have seen it. I'm happy that Honorable Fuseini says that Ghanaians themselves know who is performing, who is not performing. And when you compare and contrast the records, trust me, this election is going to be based on track record. The NDC lacks track record. The NDC will not just come out and present a fanciful, ornamental document to us, call it a manifesto, and say we should vote for them. I call that document fanciful, ornamental, and imaginative.
Thank you, Mr. Pratt. Kamal-Deen.
First of all, I'd like to appeal to my brother and friend, Kamal-Deen, to make a copy of the full NPP manifesto available
This year, I can give you one later.
I'll be most grateful.
I'll get to some.
Because so far, what I've read are the things that have been published in the media, and I haven't seen the full text yet. So I'll give you a full text. If you give me the full text, and I'll be most grateful to you, my brother, for giving me the full text. Now, having said that, you know, all of us, when we speak in the public space, and by all of us, I mean myself, you, everybody, including Kamal-Deen and also His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, when we speak in the public space, the least people expect of us is consistency. That's the least they expect of us. Unfortunately, I am not seeing that consistency reflected in statements that Dr. Bawumia is making and in some of the statements that you have repeated from Dr. Bawumia. When the NDC first launched its manifesto, we were told that it was empty. There was nothing in it. We all heard it. Now, how does something which is empty, which is nothing, all of a sudden become something which has been copied from somewhere? It is either something or it is nothing. It cannot be nothing and something at the same time. Consistency is lost in that analysis. You understand? Then we were told, and Kamal-Deen has repeated it even here, that the NDC manifesto is ornamental, unrealistic. It's not something which can change things. Is that what they copy from you? They copy something which is just ornamental, which is unrealistic, which cannot be implemented, which is a phantom. And you said they copied it from you. My goodness.
Speaking the issues. Speaking the issues. This semantics. This is semantics. And you know, remember they said we stole it when they had not even done it. Why do you steal something that was not in there?
Okay. It's not the same thing you're doing. There is nothing in the NDC manifesto, but they stole it from
very fanciful, ornamental. That's so hot.
You know something? If we don't take care, these politicians will kill us with their inconsistency.
Yeah, that's a problem.
They will kill us.
That's a problem.
There is nothing in the NDC manifesto but they stole it from us. The manifesto is ornamental.
And there is nothing in the NPP manifesto because they stole it.
But they stole it from us.
NPP has nothing, but they stole it from NDC. That's what NDC said.
We never said we stole you stole our manifesto from.
We stole yours.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
We stole ideas.
We stole it. Sorry.
Let's. Honorable Kamal, please. Respectfully. Respectfully.
I don't know if I should say more. Because some of the things that these politicians are telling us, they make me sick. Listen, all of a sudden, if you talk about industrialization, you are copying MPP.
One DYF.
You see, this kind of statement betrays a certain high level of ignorance.
Yeah.
Because I have read the 5-year development program that the Nkrumah CPP government put out. Industrialization was at the center of the 5-year development program. That 5-year development program was eventually put aside and replaced with a 7-year development program. Industrialization remained the core. In fact, that was the time when the MPP, if it is true that you people came from the UP tradition and NLM tradition, when we were busily describing those industrial projects as prestigious projects and so on. Today, if anybody talks about industrialization, that person is copying you. Abba.
Coffee juice is there for you.
Abba. What happened to this country? These are our leaders. These are our leaders. Masa, the Nkrumah CPP government came up with the idea of fee-free compulsory education, not just at the secondary school level, but at all levels of education. Now, Dr. Buzia came to power, he scrapped free education and introduced students' loan. Today, anybody talks about free education, he must be copying MPP. Look, in this Fourth Republican dispensation, the first political party that came out with the idea of free education was the Convention People's Party. Go and check the records. The Convention People's Party proposed to introduce free education. You understand? This was followed by the Progressive People's Party, who came up with the idea of free secondary education. And if my memory serves me right, it was the Progressive People's Party which first came with a costed program for free education. At the time when the current president was being asked in London how he was going to finance, I said, oh, leave it to me. I would only tell Ghanaians first before I come to you.
And as particular, not even telling Ghanaians.
Master, I beg you.
Okay.
I beg you. I speak facts. I don't lie. And you know that what I'm saying is the truth. The Progressive People's Party was the first party which came out with a costed program for implementing free SHS. You understand? So today, how can you claim that free SHS is your idea and that anybody who is talking about free HS is copying? How can you, how dare you do that? How dare you insult us like that? You are. Because you are insulting us because you think that we have no memory.
No, we have implemented it. And paying money. You said the money was too much.
It was implemented in the Nkrumah era.
John Dramani Mahama said the money was too much. How do you budget 2
You
billion?
came and cancelled
2 billion
it.
for free SHS. Why? It's too much.
Come on.
Now he wants to do the same thing.
Come on.
When you were implementing it.
Sorry.
No, it's not even true. Come on, it's not true. Well,
And I'm sure that the people who are listening to us, the same that making. But there's Yesterday, I read an analysis of the two manifestos by the Law Students Union. Yes. And the Law Students Union, the Law Students Union is emphatic that as far as they are concerned, as far as solving their problems are concerned and so on, the NDC manifesto is superior to that of the NPP. I'm not the one saying it all. Law students in Ghana.
That's the angle of that. That one.
You agree?
No. Why not?
But you're also a law student.
I know.
I totally get into Bangola.
We have a common platform. We've had a lot of arguments. Legal education is a challenge to all of us.
So it's a foregone conclusion. Thank you. Mr. Frank, please.
It's not to say that there's so much credence.
So, if the two manifestos are the same, if one was stolen from the other, they must be the same. How come that one is superior to the other?
Why cannot be superior?
Oh, you disagree with the Law Students Union?
Do
you disagree with the Law Students Union? If you disagree with the Law Students Union, say it. The microphone is here. It doesn't go anywhere. Say it. You can't say it.
Kwesi Pratt, you make a submission.
Go ahead with the submission. I've made mine.
You back later.
No, sir. It's a very simple question of whether you agree with the Law Students Union or you don't agree. They have done an analysis of the two manifestos. They have come to the point where they say, as far as their interests are concerned, the NDC manifesto is better than your manifesto. You understand? I'm saying that if something is better than the other, they cannot be one and the same. Must have stopped. I won't talk about it.
Honorable, you were writing some few things. What is it that you want to share with us briefly? Because my time is up. There's a recording of that.
Because of my brother Kamal-Deen, sometimes it's really difficult to
punch air.
Yes. Why? Because he's been referring to NDC manifesto and showing where they are and all that. Yes. Right. Yes. Yes.
It's not a normal.
Oh, what do you mean? It's difficult. You see, let us put the arguments on the table.
Let me explain what you know, at least over the last 20-something years, I've been participating in programs like this with MPP communicators and so on. And you know what I'm talking about. You don't heckle. You do small, but you don't do plenty like that. That's what I mean. The fact is that you present yourself as a nice gentleman who is interested in debating the issues, even though sometimes your arguments are lopsided.
Serious issues are
so that is what I meant.
Isn't it a fact?
He raised a very important issue about social intervention.
Kamal says that under the team education, the first entry
is a free.
Which page is that? You see why I say?
I am saying.
You see, no. You see why I say it's difficult? Because it's a brother. Because we don't have. Please, wait.
There is.
Wait, the thematic areas.
I'll let you respond.
No, the thematic. Please. The thematic areas of the NDC manifesto. The first is sex.
Yes.
Is there education as part of it?
You are
you said it. You see, that's why I say it's difficult for.
Okay, so you want to something?
Explain this.
Okay, sir.
Clearly, I sit here and I subscribe to the MPP manifesto largely and strongly. I subscribe to the MPP manifesto largely and strongly. However, for the sake of comparative analysis, I am forced and I become curious to go into the NDC manifesto. It's not to swallow that hook, line, and sinker. It's to look at portions of it and then do my better comparative analysis and then move on, which I sought to do today. It's not to say that I know the entire NDC manifesto. That's the point I'm saying.
Okay,
so I'm saying that there's an
I agree with you. I agree with you. You're not entitled to know. You have no duty to know all the.
I have just about 2 minutes to wrap up.
You see, in our manifesto, the section that deals with education is under the section that deals with promoting human development. The first entry is health for all.
Maybe.
The second entry is health policies. Now, when you come to education,
The first item.
well, when you come to providing globally competitive quality education, then we have teacher motivation, we have secondary education, we have technical and vocational education and training. We have I'm looking at the manifesto. Is the manifesto I'm reading? Is the manifesto? Have you seen free senior high school? Have you seen free senior high school?
Are you saying there's no free high
Honorable, you have copied. Yes, my boss. Yes, my boss.
You see, it's very interesting how we think we push issues aside and want to go on a tangent that will not speak to the issue, but try to, if you like, make myself happy. You see, the point I want to make is that is there free SHS mentioned emphatically in the NDC manifesto or not?
Education. You said under education.
So now the government is not about education.
Kamal-Deen said our manifesto under education. The first
The argument is not about the thematic area. Thank you.
My point. The point is that free SHS is what they want to uphold. I disagree.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Honorable Inusah Fuseini, thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Thank you to the viewers for watching today's edition of Good Morning Africa. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a nice day. Hold on.
That very soon we are going to have in our studios Dr. Mustafa Hamid.
Hey, nice one.
An old comrade of mine.
Yes.
And he'll be having an interview on Talk Time about manifestos, you understand, which will be broadcast tomorrow.
Solid.
You understand?
Another fine brain we have.
Solid.
Mustafa actually started as a communist. So you can check.